Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have 3 stories for you from the ProRevenge subreddit. Before we start that, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's completely free and you can always change your mind later. But if you stick around, my friend Carmen here just might have some cookies for you in the near future. Alright, on to the stories. Let's jump right in. This story comes to us from a deleted account. Neighbor is a butthole, so I caused a potentially catastrophic rift in his marriage. So this happened a couple weeks ago, but I saw the result of it earlier today. A bit of backstory. I live in a predominantly Mormon area, and I am not Mormon. I received quite a bit of criticism from my across the street neighbor because of the religious difference. I'm assuming we've never interacted before he started effing with me. He currently has 10 children. About a month ago on trash day, he told one of his kids to kick my trash can over into the street. The kid did it, and I witnessed everything. This is not the first time he has kicked my trash over, and I figured it was a lost cause to go over there and ask them for some decency more than I already have. That same day, I was reminded by a friend about how I used to have a pen pal when I was younger before I moved. Later that night, I was browsing the web looking for a pen pal when I stumbled across a cool sounding site, prisonpenpals.com. I visited the site, and after clicking through a few dodgy links, was brought to an array of different prisoners who were looking for a pen pal. After doing a bit of browsing from there, I stumbled across a fellow who was on death row for first-degree murder. Feeling bad for this guy, but not wanting to give my address out, you send an email, the guards print it out and give it to the prisoner, who then writes you a letter and delivers it to your physical address. I remembered the butthole across the street. More out of curiosity than malice, I proceeded to write a very detailed letter about how I am a trapped, secretly gay Mormon man with 10 kids who was looking to start an extramarital affair with a prisoner. I put in his address and send. I had my hilarious, petty satisfaction. I expected nothing to come out of this. I thought he would be going through his mail, see the letter, not open it, toss it, and think nothing of it after that. But boy, was I wrong. Of course, with it being in a small town, this guy does run a small business here, where one of my acquaintances works. I went in just earlier today and chatted with my acquaintance before he told me, "Oh my gosh, did you hear about neighbor?" I said no, because I hadn't, and he filled me in on all of the details. Apparently, one of the neighbor's kids had brought in the mail, only for his wife to find it and read the letter from this prisoner responding to the joke letter that I wrote. I don't know the specifics of the letter, but I do know that his wife threw an effing fit when he arrived home, and made him pack his bags. My acquaintance informed me that this was not the first time neighbor had started or tried to start an affair with another man, and apparently this was the last straw for her. I'm still shocked, horrified, and extremely amused by this predicament. OP posted an update down below. It says, "Edit, I've seen some comments saying this guy didn't deserve it just by kicking over a trash can. So here are some more details. I'm the guardian of my younger sister. I got her a cat about a year ago, and the neighbor told me that the cat is not allowed on his side of the road. Okay, whatever. A couple days later, the guy called animal control on the cat because it was wandering on the sidewalk in front of his house. They said they couldn't do anything since it wasn't on his property. So neighbor takes the cat and drops it off at the animal shelter, pretending it's his, and tells them to put it down. They refuse without the papers and she's chipped. It's a whole situation. On the day they moved in, my little sister made them brownies and took them over, knocked on the door and waited. They didn't answer. So little sister wanders back across the road, and when she gets to our front porch, looks back to watch the father look her dead in the eyes as he's throwing the treats, plate and all, into the garbage. Other petty bullcrap acts besides these, etc. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Manix58. It says, 10 kids? That guy lives in a prison already. Another commenter down below called Nitron said, Is no one here going to feel sorry for the desperately lonely death row prisoner having his feelings messed with for your amusement? Sure, it's funny, and I'm sure he wasn't heartbroken or anything, but it's pretty cruel to use someone like that, murderer or not. Edit, you can judge a society by how well it treats its prisoners. You guys are a bunch of sadistic buttholes. Part of me wants to hold on to hope that OP actually did the neighbor a favor by letting them out themselves once more and maybe getting them to move on and get into a relationship that they actually want to be in. I do feel sorry for the 10 kids because their dad's not going to be there anymore, but the dad's probably going to get what he's looking for now. This story comes to us from DJ Duke of Spook. When your ex tells you to move out while she's on a work trip because the guy she cheated on you with is moving in, you get very creative moving out. I did this to an ex who asked me to move out while she was on a work trip and told me she was coming back with her new boyfriend. We were still together when she left. I got these little noisemakers, battery-powered ones the size of a quarter that emit sounds at just the right volume that you aren't sure if you really heard it. So quiet that 2 people could be sitting in an average-sized room, and while one can barely hear it, the other wouldn't hear a thing. They last ages and fit perfectly in light fixtures and in wall outlets. I got a box of 20 of them for like $100 on eBay and got so creative all over the house, her car. I even hid them in a boat her father got her. Rich family, and she grew up sailing. Now, these little things make a noise at complete random intervals. Could be minutes, could be hours, could take a whole day off. They cycle noises like children laughing, a dying breath as they called it, a whistle, scratching noises, some other ones I can't remember, but you get the idea. It was so unpredictable, it was near impossible for someone to just figure it out. Months go by, I get a new place, get my life back up. Now, we had a few friends in common, and one of them I kept up with. They were kinda sour about how she ended things, but they had grown up together and kept the friendship, loosely talking and catching up on occasion. I never really asked about her, but one day we get to talking, and he's wanting to prank some friends on a camping trip, so I tell him about the noisemakers. As I'm telling him about them, he slowly starts making this face, like he's gradually losing his crap. He got this huge grin on his face and asks me, "You put these in X's crap, didn't you?" And when I admit, he starts laughing hysterically. Turns out, her new boyfriend had only lasted a few months, and had left, telling her that he couldn't handle whatever was going on with them, and their mental states. Turns out for a while, they had both heard things, and sometimes only one would hear them, which gave the illusion that something really effed with them was going on in their heads, at different times. They couldn't figure it out, and eventually he wanted out completely. And having run down all the crazy list of crap people who are hearing voices would think, ended it believing he had been infected with some brain worm the government was putting in vaccines or something like that. It was amazing. I hadn't expected to hear anything about it. I rode that train for weeks. When it went away, I got another hit of that high. She moved out, told her parents she didn't want the house, and to give it to her brother or sell it. Wouldn't tell them why. I always tell people who ask about her that I hold no grudge, and don't tell them the part where I totally effed with her so bad, I overshot the got her back stage and hit the blissful state of satisfied with my work. My wife knows this story by heart because it's her favorite one to tell. Jumping down the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Digital Girly. It says, "I sent one of these to my BFF who was stationed in Japan. It's called an Anoyatron sold by ThinkGeek. Anywho, he put it in his chief's office on the inside lip of a metal filing cabinet. They have a magnet so you can stick them anywhere. Then he left on a 2-week engagement. When he got back, he heard the stories. Chief had IT come in and check all electronics. He had maintenance come in and check all appliances. Finally, he lost his crap and started throwing all the furniture out in a hallway in a fit of anger. Only then was he able to rid himself of the infuriating sound. My BFF never told anyone he did it." There's an update on this comment. It says, "Update, So after I posted this comment, some people reached out to me to see if I could tell them more about the product. I couldn't, but coincidentally, I found one of mine, and it's called the Eviltron. I decided to put it in my mom's house. It has 5 sound choices, and I set it on a guy who loudly whispers, "Hey, can you hear me?" and put it in the Detrius that sits by her kitchen phone. Now we wait, I thought to myself. I didn't hear anything from her that night, but the next day she texts me, "Grandma's hearing aids are glitching, they're chirping non-stop and it's driving her crazy. She's almost in tears." This gave me pause, but there's no way the device could impact her hearing aids, I'm sure, so I don't say anything. The next day mom calls and casually mentions she's made an appointment to get the aids checked and it's only going to cost her $100 for the checkup, but the aids aren't under warranty, so if they need fixing, it's going to be expensive. Oh crap. I tell her, well, I need to let you know something. I'm sure they're unrelated, but on the off chance, and I confess I put an Eviltron in her house. There's a long pause, then she bursts out laughing. The bee had pulled a double cross on me. She found it the first night and played my butt like a fiddle for 2 days. Good on you, mama. Good on you. I did a little searching around online and I was able to find these devices at Amazon, eBay, and AliExpress. So if you want one, now you know where to go. It seems like this would be a great way to really get under somebody's skin. Or drive them completely crazy, which is probably more likely to happen if there's sounds going off in their house and they have no idea where they are. This story comes to us from the Thin Green Giant. AT&T tries to screw me over $139. I actually screw them out of $72,000. After my wife and I got married last year, we decided that we should both get on the same phone plan. We went down to the AT&T store and met with a rep who told us we'd both be on an unlimited plan for $70 a month all in, including taxes and fees. I was very specific about getting the all-in price for the service. It seemed like a decent deal, so we signed up. 2 days later, I log into the website and see that there's already a bill for $139. I call up a rep to see what's up, and they tell me that between the activation fees, taxes, and surcharges, the bill was correct. I told them what the salesperson told me, and they basically told me to pound sand. I promptly told them I wanted to cancel the service and wanted the $139 waived. They said they could cancel the service, but could not or would not waive the bill. They also told me if I canceled immediately, my wife and I would lose our phone numbers, which is true. So I figure since I already have to pay for the month and I don't want to lose my phone number, I will just get a new carrier and cancel when I'm ready. So I do my research and find Visible, which is excellent, and we make the switch. I call back to AT&T and inform them that we have switched carriers and want to cancel the service. I again ask for a refund. The rep informs me that since I have had the service for 4 days, that I am not entitled to a refund. He tells me to read the fine print on the contract, which indeed tells me that I have 3 days to cancel for a full refund. I'm now fuming because the first CSR that I talked to on day 2 denied me a refund if I canceled. I asked for the next level of CSR and they sent me to a customer care and retention person. I explained the entire fiasco to him and how I feel that I have now been lied to twice by AT&T reps, sales rep and first CSR. He is a really cool guy and apologizes and says he'll take care of it and will completely waive the bill. I am very thankful and hang up thinking that this is finally resolved. Fast forward a month and I get an AT&T bill in the mail saying my payment was not received and is now late. I again pick up the phone and call AT&T. I eventually make my way through 2 CSR reps until I get back to the customer care and retention department. This time, I did not have the chill dude. Instead, I got a very smarmy woman who said that the bill was due and I'd owe the entire amount. I asked her to please check the CSR notes and that the last guy told me he would waive the amount. She put me on a 10-minute silent hold and came back and said she'd escalate the matter to her supervisor. She said I should receive an email by the end of the week with a resolution. 2 weeks go by, no response. I call again. This time I get a very nice lady that is sympathetic. She says she'll waive the bill. She comes back and tells me that she can't do anything because the bill has already been sent to collections. She said not to worry and that she'll send a letter to collections to have them waive the debt. I ask if this will go on my credit report and she says no, and that they'll take care of it. 6 months later, I get a letter in the mail from Sequium Asset Solutions out of Georgia trying to collect on the $139. I immediately send them a letter via certified mail demanding that they verify the debt since it's obviously bad. I hear nothing for 2 months, and then I get an alert that I have a negative mark on my credit. I go in and sure enough, Sequium has indicated that the amount is in collections. I immediately write letters to all 3 bureaus requesting that they remove the remark. A month goes by and every single one of the bureaus removes the mark, thank goodness. Another 3 months goes by and then I get a letter from Sunrise Credit Services in New York, again trying to collect on the debt. This is truly unbelievable because it appears that Sequium couldn't verify it, so instead of apologizing and waiving the debt, they just sold it off to another collection agency. I sent another certified letter to Sunrise demanding verification. I get nothing in reply. So far, they have not attempted to put a mark on my credit. That's where this part of the story ends. Who knows what will happen next? I could file a lawsuit, but the filing fee alone would be more than the amount owed. Here's the thing, I am not cash strapped. I am blessed enough that I could easily pay the $139 without making a dent in my budget. I have lost 5 times that amount in hours spent on the phone and writing letters. But I am determined to go to the mat with AT&T on principle alone. This brings us to the revenge stage. You see, in addition to my day job as an attorney, I am an elected city councilman in my town. And when I was going over our monthly expenses, I noticed that we were paying AT&T close to $6,000 a month for our phones, internet, and TV services. We're a fairly small town, so it was pretty obvious that we were being bent over by these clowns and that we could save a ton of money by switching. I started working with our city manager and IT director on finding other solutions. We discovered that by switching to various carriers and providers that we could save half. I never would have looked that closely into our telecom expense had AT&T not jerked me around. 2 weeks ago, the resolution to switch was put on our meeting agenda and the council voted to pass it. We decided to completely cut ties with AT&T. Our city is saving a ton of money, getting better service, and with the money we saved from switching, we were able to hire another part-time animal shelter employee, which we desperately needed. I highly doubt our city would have considered switching if I didn't make such a stink about it. AT&T will end up losing hundreds of thousands over the coming years because of this. I hope it was worth it, AT&T. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Seabelt3. It says, to finally round out the issue, you need to contact your AT&T government sales rep and explain why he lost that sweet commission. The screaming will reverberate through the organization. I did a little bit of reading through the comment section on this one myself, and there's a lot of people out there who are really not happy with their mobile providers. I find that kind of interesting because I've been with the same provider up here in Canada since I was 18, and I'm 43 now, and have never had an issue with them, besides some marketing calls at one point, but even those kind of went away. Fortunately, these days, if a company jerks you around like OP was jerked around in this story, you can just get on social media and make a big stink about it, and usually it'll get fixed up.